Hey everyone, welcome back to the ADW Profile Podcast, ADW for a Deeper Way. Today, Tim, our aspect of the day, concern for others.
Ooh.
Tim, what do we need to know?
High to the right, concern for others. High to the left, strong to the left, concern for self. As a reminder, I'll sound like a broken record, but there are no right or wrong, or only good or only bad, but rather far to the right on this aspect, concern for others, far to the left, concern for self. It's part of the agreeableness family, and the agreeable, tough-minded, that family, right? Then the PsyPlex vector, that concern for others, concern for self, that this aspect loads onto is people focus. People focus, right? What do I focus on when evaluating my situation? People focus is one of the things I can focus on. And the system strength is called charity. Charity.
How lovely.
What say you, Dr. Lenkow?
Well, I say let's recognize.
Yes.
So as we zone in to recognize, what are as you've said several times, and remind us again today, for anywhere that we score on a particular aspect, there's going to be ways that can be really effective in given situations. What are the effective manifestations of this particular aspect?
Well, I'll give you one, and then maybe you could come up with some.
Sure.
But when we're far to the right, so high concern for others, right?
Yep.
One of the things that lets us do is we have some natural access to empathy, right? For far to the left doesn't mean we don't have it, but far to the right, concern for others, we have some natural access to that kind of level 2 others awareness. Imagine what it's like for other people.
Tend to go there pretty quickly.
We can pattern ourselves and find ourselves there often. Right? And that can be really, really helpful in building relationships, in starting to develop new working relationships with people you haven't met before. Far to the right, concern for others, we might imagine what that other person's experience is like more readily.
And there's almost sort of an anticipatory focus on what might this person need. Are they okay? What can I help them with?
Right. I think one of the in the system strength is called charity, right? So being charitable, being willing to help, willing to give. One of the great things about high concern for others, people over there don't tend to count every little second of their time and how it's being used. And I think of Adam Grant's, he talks about givers and takers, and then people are in the middle, kind of matchers. That's a bigger construct than just one aspect. But high concern for others, that aspect would likely be one that might be found in people who tend to give of their time, give of their efforts.
Definitely impacted by agreeableness, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
What can we recognize? Because again, now we're on that left side, which low on concern for others, high on concern for self. Same thing, just framed a little bit differently. So high concern for self, what are the effective manifestations of that?
Yeah, one of them is more natural access to setting one's own boundaries.
Absolutely.
So able to recognize recognize when I need to say no, or when this might impact me to an extent that I'm not able to follow through or deliver. Or so folks over there are able to set that personal boundary or say no, right? And everyone's able to do that.
Right.
But this pattern of concern for self, one of the really helpful things of it allows us to more readily access.
Yeah, and I think in accessing that, there's also a sort of a more readily accessible access to what you need, in
Right.
this given moment, and then asking for it, or getting
Yeah.
it, or trying to get
Yeah.
it, which might take more effort from someone who's
Yeah.
on the other end of that spectrum.
Well, and it says too, or it highlights as well, how both are serve a purpose. If
Absolutely.
everyone in the world was high concern for self, there wouldn't be any giving. If
Right.
everyone was high concern for others, no one would be there to receive any help.
Does
You
take
know?
both, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it highlights again how we can access these behaviors on either side.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we're starting to creep in here a little bit, sometimes there's going to be times when either of these tendencies, patterns, might get in the way, might not
Yeah.
be the best of what the moment is looking for. So as we move into reroute, what might those things look like? And then how do we reroute?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite aspects to talk with people about, because there's some misconceptions about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
High concern for self does not mean you're selfish.
Right.
High concern for others does not mean you're kind.
Or
Right?
not selfish.
Or not self. Right. It's
Right.
not about those labels. Those are not
No.
helpful. And often people will see high concern for self, and when we're doing a match report, they're paired with someone who's high concern for others, and they both kind of sit there and scratch their head. And so what are we supposed to make of this? And
Right.
this is a helpful thing I've learned to share with folks, and you share this too, but all human beings ask two questions when they're evaluating a situation.
Yeah.
They all ask two questions. One question is, how does this impact me? And the other question is, how does this impact other people? And what this aspect is telling us is simply, what order do you ask those questions in?
Yeah.
Right? What order do I ask these questions in? High concern for others, they ask the other one first. Right? High concern for self, they ask the self one first. And so in learning to reroute, it's helpful to understand which question I ask first, and then work to figure out, given the situation, how quickly can I ask the second one?
Yeah.
How quickly can I ask the second one? Because leaving that gap open for too long, right, gives us an incomplete interaction with our circumstance.
I
Because
like that.
every circumstance impacts both self and others.
I think a way just to kind of expand on that, even to get to each side, so the high concern for others, for example, the miss that can happen there is sort of realizing that maybe this was a time to say no.
Right.
Right.
One thing too, I think in ask how this shows up often in planning
Right.
is when I think of when we're working on planning a project together, right, as a group. High concern for other people will give to the project, and the risk would be not asking the second question, how does this actually impact me? Do I actually have the resources or time or energy to give what I am kind of defaulting to offering?
Right.
So for the high concern for others, asking that second question before having it, before going through the experience.
Yep.
And same process with the other side, just different content, right?
Yeah. The slightly different question there is,
Yeah.
am I missing an opportunity to be helpful? Am I missing an
Right.
opportunity to contribute something that's really needed?
Right.
That maybe doesn't have the biggest impact on me, but wow, would it really impact the group or the project?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Concern for self, concern for others, agreeableness, family. We'll get in the weeds. Anything you'd add to this aspect?
I think this is a nice synopsis.
So just to clarify, maybe the key takeaway, this is not
Mm,
predictive of selfishness.
no, no.
I like it. I like it. So that's it for now. Of course, stay tuned for more aspect discussions. In the meantime, get that self-awareness.
Be curious.